All right, Rosie, let's go in chronological order. Just a crazy, crazy Tuesday afternoon. It started at 3:52 Eastern time. Out of nowhere, I think we were both taking naps at the time. Rasmus Sandin gets dealt to the Washington Capitals for Erik Gustafsson, who's having a pretty good offensive season, and Boston's first-round pick that was involved in the Orlov trade. By the way, Orlov goes off, got 2 goals last night. He has 4 points in the last 2 games here with the Bees.
Yeah.
So after that, the dust settles for about 50 minutes. Rosie and I do a podcast. We're feeling good about life. And then 4:46 Eastern time, the other domino, Pierre Engvall gets traded to the New York Islanders for a 2024 third-round pick, but they're not done there. A minute later, as you've been speculating for the better part of like 4 months, Toronto acquires Luke Schenn 2.0 here. Again, he's coming back for a 2023 third-round pick and 3 trades in less than an hour, Rosie. Your breakdown.
It was clear to me then when that Engvall trade went down that obviously they freed up that space for a reason, and it just seemed like something else was coming. So once that hit the phone, you realized that there was more coming and you were paying more attention. But yeah, I wasn't. Why would we expect or not expect things to happen? We're not really in the war room there, breaking it down with Dubas, but obviously he had some things in place and was close to pulling the trigger. And once everything was in line, he just started pulling the trigger, and the dominoes fell. And it was interesting, man. I mean, every time I saw what had happened, it had made sense to me. I understood why. It's what we've been talking about for quite a while, and it wasn't anything out of the blue except for maybe Sandin being part of a trade. But when we bring in 3 defensemen, someone's got to kind of move out with some value. So everything that fell in place was pretty interesting, man. And I look at it as a whole because I think they're all kind of connected on trying to fill the holes that we've been talking about in the roster and get over the hump of their lackluster performance in the playoffs. And I can't help but look and say, this all makes sense to me. I would do all of these things if they were available to me as well. And you just can't argue with it. And now the only thing left to do is see how these guys gel together and put some points on the board, see what it looks like.
It really is crazy when you look at your screen right now and you see the guys who have been in and out even in the last 2 weeks, dating back to February 17th, again, when they pull off that massive trade with St. Louis. But to me, this just screams they're not done just yet. I don't know if it's going to be a Justin Hall leaving or maybe that first round pick is in play. But at this point, if you're all in, you're all in. And last time I checked, they have 9 NHL defensemen on their roster right now, which leads me to believe maybe they're not finished. And I think they still have an asset, a big time asset in a first round pick. So, with that in mind, Rosie, what else is out there in your opinion, or what do you think they can, upgrade in right now? Is it goaltending? Is it the back end? Would you love another forward maybe?
I don't know who's out there and what's available, and it just gets complicated, but I think they've done a good job. If this is all they do, I'm pretty pleased. I feel like they've got some sandpaper up in the bottom 6, a little bit more depth. I mean, obviously the Ryan O'Reilly thing is going to make a big wave in the locker room and on the roster. And then I was just saying, come on, can we get a little bit of veteran defenseman? Can we get a little bit of jam on the back end? Can we just solidify that up a little bit? It seems a little bit weak. If we get into an absolute war of a playoff series, are these D-men going to be able to get it done? Can we rely on Gio to be blocking every shot and jumping in all the scrums and stuff? I don't know. I wasn't totally sold on that. I didn't like it. And they ended up solving that problem here. We got McCabe, Schenn, and Gustafsson there who are going to be inserted, who I think are going to bring that level up quite a bit. So if they don't do anything else, I'm not going to say, well, why didn't, I mean, we've made a huge splash already. But if they do, I think the only thing that people will be raising their eyebrows at is, are you shaking up a good team too much? And are you rattling the chemistry and whatnot, which I don't see it as far as the players they've got. I mean, unless they insert some kind of cancerous player, but every single guy on this sheet right now has got a reputation for years and years of being a solid or a solid teammate and a good guy with good character, which is what you're looking for, obviously.
Honestly, I think the conversation would be a lot different if, say, they brought in a Patrick Kane. Nothing against Patrick Kane. He's still one of the more polarizing players in the league, future Hall of Famer, loves the spotlight. It would be a lot different than who they brought in with guys like Ryan O'Reilly, more of sort of the background noise type guys, right? And I think that's a conversation I certainly want to have when it comes to the identity of this team and what they've picked up. But I think you look conversely at Sandin, trading him away. I have no problem maxing out on a player to get a first round pick and a defenseman's having a pretty good season, adding to the depth in the back end. No problem with that. Again, we've been talking about it all season long. I do think Pierre Engvall was expendable. I can't believe they got a third round pick. And obviously, he's viewed higher than you and I view Pierre Engvall, but I do think he's very one dimensional, doesn't play to his size, lacks hockey IQ, in my opinion. Not to rip on him, like this isn't one of your meetings in the offseason with an RFA and like we're inside a courtroom talking about a player in arbitration. But I mean,
Arbitration.
there's pros and cons to Pierre Engvall. Like he's a good bottom six guy, has a pretty deceptive shot. I just wonder about the IQ. He plays kind of small too, considering his size. So what I'm saying is, I think he was expendable. Obviously, he wasn't in my perfect picture playoff roster. And then to get Luke Schenn, I do think this is Toronto positioning itself to play a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round, and they're not going to get pushed around anymore. That's great to see, and it sort of combos the Tanner Jeannot pickup, I think, to an extent.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a guy like Luke Schenn's going to go out there and he's gonna bang the body and finish his hits, and he's a good puck mover, kill penalties, block shots. He loves to finish his checks and play that style, and he knows what it takes to win. He's won 2 Stanley Cups and gone deep in several playoff runs, so he knows what it looks like. But the other thing is like that makes everyone else better. That makes everyone else bigger, and it's contagious when, especially in the playoffs,
Yeah.
when you know you're absolutely jacked up. Energy's so high. You're running adrenaline. The crowd's going absolutely bananas. It's a completely different feel in the playoffs. And you got Schenner out there banging guys. And if anyone wants to get in anyone's face, they can get in scrums and stuff. And all of a sudden, everyone else is playing a little bit bigger. And I don't mind getting rid of Pierre Engvall because I think he could play with Macho Man Randy Savage and his heartbeat wouldn't go up too much. He just doesn't have it. He just does. It's just not a part of the game. I think that his mind even goes to anything physical or aggressive. And he's shown that time and time again. And, you're pulling him out of the lineup and moving him around the lines. And you'd think you get a little wake up call of, maybe I can do some other things that this team needs. And he just refused to. So, you know what? Down the road you go. We need a guy that is willing to do that, and you weren't willing. So I have no problem with it. And right now you look at those back end players, and it's just hard to think that Justin Holl is still pegged in there. Like you said, 9 NHL defensemen. Be interesting to see what the lineup is like here and how the week shakes out, because putting him in any kind of a strong role right now with the personnel that we have, I just don't see how you could justify it. And we've been kind of baffled all year long on how this guy just is cemented into the lineup, which I don't think he brings a whole lot. And again, a guy that could be a lot more physical and bang and have that presence like Luke Schenn, and just kind of doesn't even have any interest in doing so.